Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Hoag, and I am NAMA's Manager of State Affairs. We are really excited to welcome you all to DC next week for our 10th annual Fly-In and Advocacy Summit. I am going to go over a few things of what you need to know before you arrive. We'll talk a little bit about the schedule, what to bring, what not to bring, um, and then what it's going to look like when you have your meetings on the Hill. So should be a quick video for you, but let's get going. So uh, to start off, looking at the schedule, registration and badge pickup is going to open on Tuesday morning at 9:30. We'll have a welcome and networking reception kicking off at 10, and then welcome remarks starting at 10:30 on Tuesday morning. So we are in the Hotel Washington in downtown Washington, D.C. again, just like last year. Uh, I would maybe plan for a little extra time this year to get around the city to arrive at the hotel. Israeli President Benjamin Netanyahu is actually in town the same time that we are, which is cool, but there might be some extra congestion on the roads. So just be prepared for, waiting in a little more traffic than normal. But Tuesday is going to be all at the Hotel Washington, walking through some really educational and unique sessions that we have lined up for you about the issues that we'll be speaking about with members of Congress on Wednesday, plus an election preview from a couple election forecasters, and followed by a dinner and a reception. So Tuesday is all in the Hotel Washington, but Wednesday is the big day for meetings on the Hill. So we'll have breakfast and a briefing on what to expect again at the hotel. Then we will bus over to Capitol Hill, grab a group photo, and then congressional meetings will start around 9:30 or 10 o'clock. You'll be able to find all of the information about your meetings, about talking points, economic data, everything you need to know will be in the app. So we're going to have an app again. It's the same one as last year. It's called Advocacy Day. And we will send you instructions on how to download it and how to log in and everything on Friday via email. But we'll also be around, the whole time on Tuesday to help you get squared away if you didn't get a chance to log in ahead of time. So meetings on the Hill will last most of the day on Wednesday. Again, it just depends on how we were able to schedule your group. But if you have some downtime on Tuesday, or on Wednesday, we will be in the Capitol Hill Club again this year. It's just off the hill across from the House office buildings. So you'll be able to leave your suitcases there, leave anything you don't want to take with you onto the hill. So the question is, what should you take with you when you go on the hill? Well, if you think about it in terms of TSA security, it's roughly equivalent on what you're allowed to take into the Capitol buildings. Uh, it is business attire on the Hill during congressional sessions, so everyone's going to be wearing suits and ties. But we would encourage you to do the same. Make sure you have some comfortable shoes because there's a lot of walking involved. But we'll be meeting in the House and Senate office buildings. That's where members of the House and Senate have their offices. That's where our meetings will be. So the prohibited items you see on the screen are the prohibited items for those buildings. I would make a note that you are allowed to bring bottles of water and snacks if you want them, an umbrella. It might be a little rainy next week. Uh, if you don't want to have use a cafeteria or a vending machine inside the buildings. So those are the prohibited items for the office buildings. If you're interested in visiting the Capitol building itself, in addition to all of your meetings for the day, you are not allowed to bring any food or drinks into the Capitol building. You're allowed to have an empty water bottle that you could fill up in the Capitol. But if you go to the Capitol building from these office buildings, you're not allowed to have any food, any drinks, not even a banana. So on Wednesday, when we meet with legislators and staff, Uh, we hopefully will be meeting with members of Congress, ideally, but if the member is not available, you'll likely be meeting with a member of their staff, and that is perfectly fine. Staff members advise members of Congress on policy. They're the ones who actually write legislation. So if the member himself is not available, uh, then you'll want to meet with the staff. So what do we say in these meetings? Well, we will walk through in detail all of our talking points throughout the conference on Tuesday. So you will be geared up and ready to go uh, with all of the knowledge that we are going to, you know, uh, we're going to share with you. But the talking points are also going to be found in the app, and you'll also have a paper copy of them. And I will cover briefly our three major issues uh, this year. But first of all, and most importantly, this is a time where we get to educate lawmakers about who we are. So, who is NAMA? What is convenience services? Highlighting the fact that we are made up of four sectors: vending, micro markets, pantry services, office coffee, tea, and water. Uh, I would highlight the fact that we are a fairly large industry that you wouldn't expect necessarily unless you were familiar with it already. We are a $34.9 billion industry in the United States. We employ over 160,000 people. We pay $3.5 billion in taxes every year, over $10 billion in wages. There will be economic data that you can also find in the app about the specific congressional district that you'll be speaking with. So I would recommend pulling up those stats and being able to share with them. In the leave behind that you leave after the meeting with the member or the staff member, there will also be this QR code where they can scan and drill down more into the details of the economic impact of our industry. But members of Congress love hearing about the impact that we bring and the positives that we bring to their communities. So this is first and foremost a great opportunity to educate your members of Congress on who we are as an industry, what do we stand for. Now, the number one issue the first issue we'll talk about is SNAP access for convenience services operators. You've probably heard us talk about this quite a bit over the last couple years. Uh, but SNAP is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. It's designed to help low-income families. And convenience services had previously been prohibited from participating. But our argument is that SNAP should be open to all food retailers equally. We're not explicitly prohibited anymore, but the USDA needs encouragement from Congress to include us in the program. So we're not looking for increased funding or any expansions to the program. We're just looking to participate with using under the existing structure and requirements. And convenience services can meet those requirements. So we're looking for members' support in our efforts to expand SNAP access to convenience services. Secondly, the Corporate Transparency Act. Hopefully you've heard of this. If not, that's totally understandable. The CTA is a new law that is now in effect, is designed to crack down on money laundering and illicit activity, illicit business activity. It's placed significant financial reporting requirements on most small businesses in the country. The vast majority of small businesses, however, have never heard of this act, and they probably don't know that they need to start getting into compliance. 90% of convenience services operators are small businesses. Many, if not most or all of us, will be affected by this regulatory burden. So we are asking Congress to delay implementation of the CTA, at least when the mandates take effect, or totally repeal it. There are a couple bills that we're asking members to sign on to. So if they're a House member, they can sign on to HR 8147 to repeal the CTA. And if they're in the Senate, it's Senate Bill 4297. Now, just keep in mind that this might be the first time that a staff member or a member of Congress hears that they have constituents who want this bill repealed or this law repealed. So they might be hesitant to guarantee that they'll sign on to it. They'll probably say, "We'll definitely consider that and look into it," or "I will definitely talk with my boss about this." So keep in mind you might not get a commitment from them, but it's important to let them know that that's what we're looking for. And then lastly, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act is set to expire next year unless Congress renews its provisions. You might have heard of this law as the Trump tax cuts. To avoid politics, I would not say it like that. I would say the TCJA, or the Tax Cuts and Job Act, or the 2017 tax cuts. But our ask is for the small business provisions of this law to be extended. If they're not extended, small businesses are going to see tax increases at the end of next year. So the specific provisions that we're asking for is to renew the current marginal tax rates on small businesses. Uh, well, renew the current marginal tax rates, renew the estate tax exemption so that family-owned businesses can be passed down without increased taxes. A lot of our industry is family-owned businesses. And then keeping Section 199A, which is a 20% deduction on business income for pass-through entities, and many convenience services operators are indeed pass-through entities. So that is the 30,000-foot look on the three issues that we're covering. Hopefully that was helpful to you. We're going to talk a lot more about these on Tuesday next week during the Advocacy Summit, and we'll do some deep dives, and we will help you practice the talking points and make sure you are all very familiar with the issues by the time you meet with your members. But this is, you know, the Capitol can seem a little stressful with everyone, dressed up, and these are members of Congress, but they're just looking to hear from constituents. So it's really not a high stress environment. They're just curious to hear what's on your mind, and it's a great opportunity to ask them what's on their mind and see if there's any overlap with you and your business, or where NAMA can be an ally. At the end of these meetings, uh, I'd recommend offering a site visit. If you have a warehouse in the members district, offer them to come see this facility and speak with your employees. It'd be a great opportunity for them to learn more about who you are, to see a business in their district, and to meet with more more employees in their district. And then I would also mention that if you're meeting with an office who's previously sponsored or supported NAMA-backed legislation, I would thank them for that. You can find that information in the app ahead of that meeting. And then, of course, thank them for meeting with you, and ask for a picture. And let us know any important details or follow-ups that might come from that meeting. You can fill out the notes section in the app, and that'll get back to us. So again, like I said, we're really looking forward to seeing you all next week. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. These are the four members of our government affairs team. Feel free to reach out to me, mhogue@namanow.org. But you can also reach out to Robert or Matt or even Bill. So thank you so much, and we will see you on Tuesday.